Author's Introduction. The War for Mansoul is written with apologies to John Bunyan, for it is taken from one of his great allegories, Holy War. There was a time when I was perfectly sure that nobody but John Bunyan, his printer, and I had ever managed to make it all the way through his ponderous classic. I read it long before the days when I had to. I read it, not as a study, but because I was avid for a good story, just for the sheer pleasure of it. Then I read the scholars. Their consensus was that Bunyan had gone off in too many directions, had tried to encompass too much in too heavy a framework, had interwoven too many themes in one tale. So went the criticism. But the damage had been done. I had already read the story, and my pristine mind had disregarded all the discursiveness, ignored the counterpoint, and weeded out the extraneous. For I was, you see, hungry in my own soul, and I got what I was after. With all this underbrush cut away, I simply had a long, hard look at someone I had never really known before. Me. Though this allegory was written in the tradition of the popular story, and Bunyan's laughter resounded loud and clear in spots, I was nevertheless able to look at myself with a coldly clinical eye, with judgment, and yes, with compassion. I wanted to be spiritual. I was not. I wanted to be strong. I was not. I wanted to be humble. I was not. I wanted to be all the wonderful things everyone else seemed to be. But I was not. I was a bundle of inconsistencies and born to trouble as the sparks fly upward. I closed the book, astonished, never to be the same again. It is in this spirit that I want to present The War for Mansoul to you, with all the cobwebs swept away. For it is only when Mansoul is you that all the pieces fall into place. The first 3 chapters deal with the fall of man. After that, you are, if I may be so vulgar, on your own. For from there on out, it is an intensely personal story. It is the story of you. The inhabitants of Mansoul, all of them, are facets of your own personality, the old man and the new. Woven through the subtle temptations, the backsliding, the never-ending skirmishes, the pathetic attempts of Mansoul to extricate itself from Satan, is drama and often ironic humor. And shining through the scenes of victory is the glory of God. As these allegorical characters come to life, the super strategy and diabolical cunning of Satan is laid bare. In the dickering scenes, the court trial, the dramatic quarrel between Mr. Godly Fear and Mr. Carnal Security, Bunyan reaches the heights of genius and inspiration. It is not just a story to read. It is an experience. And when you've read it, you will be filled with wonder at how little you love God and how much He loves you. By Ethel Barrett. Cast of characters. The main characters. King Shaddai, who is God. Prince Emmanuel, who is Christ. The Lord High Secretary, who is the Holy Spirit. Diabolus, who is Satan. Mansoul, who is you. Lord Mayor Understanding. The chief gentry of Mansoul, consisting of Lord Will, also known as Will, Mr. Conscience, Captain Resistance, Lord Innocency. Other characters in order of appearance. Diabolus's warlords, who are Beelzebub, Apollyon, Legion, and Alecto. Diabolus's aldermen and constables, who are Mr. Haughty, Mr. Hardheart, Mr. Pitiless, Mr. Cheating, Mr. Incredulity, also known as Unbelief. The captains and standard bearers of Shaddai, who are Captain Boangerous, Mr. Thunder, Captain Conviction, Mr. Sorrow, Captain Judgment, Mr. Terror, Captain Execution, and Mr. Justice. Captains and armor bearers of Prince Emmanuel, who are Captain Faith, Mr. Promise, Captain Good Hope, Mr. Expectation, Captain Love, Mr. Merciful, Captain Guileless, Mr. Harmless, Captain Patience, and Mr. Suffer Long. Captains of Diabolus, who are Mr. Boasting, Captain Secure, Captain Bragman, Mr. Feeling, Mr. Love No Good. Diabolus's other aldermen and constables on trial are Mr. Atheism, Mr. False Peace, Mr. No Truth. Also, Mr. Never Be Good, Atheism's father, Mr. Beastly, Lord Lusting's father, Mr. Love Not Forget Good's father, Mr. Flatterer and Miss Soothup, False Peace's parents, Captain Experience, Mr. Knowledge, Mr. Carnal Security, Destroyer of Mansoul, Mr. Self-Conceit and Lady Fear Nothing, his parents, Mr. Godly's Peace, Governor of Mansoul, Mr. Godly Fear, who led Mansoul back to Emmanuel, Mr. Mischief, working undercover for Diabolus, Mr. Profane, his messenger, Mr. Prywell, sleuth for Mansoul, Captain Discipline, an officer who came up the hard way, Inspector Diligence, officer in the Mansoul Bureau of Investigation, Mr. Evil Questioning, Diabolus's undercover agent, also messenger, porters, spies, officers, jury members, witnesses, and hand-picked doubters.